Welcome to the podcast. We Do Recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
Another beautiful Friday to be in recovery. Beautiful Friday, but hot Friday.
Oh,
this
man.
podcast is recorded in sunny St. George, Utah.
Blistering hot,
And it is-
St. George, Utah.
And it is currently 110 degrees, Doc.
Did you hear that? Somebody just woke up Sean.
Yeah.
Wow. He came alive.
Episode-
110 degrees.
Yes, episode 89 is going to go in the books this summer as being the hottest episode.
Is it the hottest so far?
for more reasons than our guests,
Really?
right? Like the weather.
Okay.
But because of our guests too.
Sure.
See, today we have on Aaron Wallis and Lexie Crafts. They've come on to, Aaron's going to share his story.
Yeah,
Lexie's here
beautiful.
to support, right? We actually got a request for them both to come on based on
Yeah.
the the like promo we send out.
Right.
I had 3 people that were like, oh, that'd be cool if they both came on. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. Beautiful. Appreciate you.
I guess we should start with the sponsorship mention, huh?
Oh, well, go ahead.
All right, episode 89 is brought to us by Steps Recovery Centers. Steps Recovery Centers is here to help you or a loved one get help as soon as you're ready to reach out. Reach out to them by calling them 801-800-8142 or just go to their website. That's stepsrc.com. They have everything. They have detox, inpatient, outpatient, aftercare. Get in touch with them. Give them a call. Great people.
Yep. Beautiful.
Sweet.
What else? You got another sponsor or no in this segment?
Nah, we'll do that next.
Okay. Beautiful.
How about
Right.
new?
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So I'm going to chime in. We're going to start with new and goods. Which
New and good.
that scared me.
There it is.
Wow, that scared me. Sean's got all the cool sound effects. I'm going to take over. What's new and good, Jared
I like
Miller?
it. I like it.
In your life.
New and good. Last week we didn't do a podcast on Friday, and that is because it was my anniversary. Been married for 1 year officially, so it was
It's
awesome.
a miracle.
Yeah, that's my new and good. We did a little staycay. We stayed down here, and I mean, when you live in like a resort area, right? Like St. George, Utah is kind of like known.
You mean like hell?
No, yeah, it's beautiful. So
418 degrees.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. I work for Steps, and they actually paid for us to go to dinner, which was super nice.
that's nice.
Thanks, Paul and Ty. And
Super cool.
yeah, and then we went and got massages, and we went up to Zion's and did some tubing, and ate at an amazing restaurant up there. We'll give them a shout out, Oscars. If you're ever in Zion, Oscars
Really?
is delicious. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
I'm a pretty lucky guy these days.
You're,
So
who are you married to?
Miss Mandy sitting over there in the corner.
The people can't see Mandy because she's off camera, but she's here with us today, and that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Mandy. Hi, Mandy. She waves. She waves. It's a podcast. It's not a TV show. Well, good.
Yeah. Right back at you. Or should
Okay.
we get these guys in the mix first?
Well, I'll go,
Okay.
and then we can get them.
What's new and good, buddy?
I'm trying to remember the thing that I mentioned last time.
It was golf. You've told
Golf.
the same golf story 3
I'm gonna
times
tell-
about hitting somebody on
Until
a
I hit
bike.
somebody on a golf cart. Did I tell you that? No, I got it. What's new and good is just life is good. You know, in general, I work at a bunch of treatment centers, and I got a couple of others maybe coming on board, and I don't know, just life is pretty good for me.
It's amazing. Like when you're, doing good things happen, right? I mean,
Yeah, like I just have no complaints about life. It's nice, you know. Is there day-to-day hassles? Yeah, but is it better when I'm clean and sober?
absolutely.
That much is true for sure. So I'm going to go with that for my new and good. I'm still sober today.
We'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have guests. We have Aaron Wallis in studio. Aaron, what's new and good in your life?
I mean, we got a lot of new and good things going on for us right now. First of all, I put in and applied for a barber school up in Salt Lake.
Really?
Yeah. So we got accepted for that. And the big hurdle I'm sure you guys know, like if you're a felon, it's hard to get into a place. And we actually got an email today
For
that
housing.
we got accepted at housing.
Nice.
Are you moving to Salt Lake?
Nice.
Gonna, yeah.
I just found this out on the podcast.
Haven't told the job or anything.
Aaron
yet,
works at a
so-
place where I work, which is how I know him, and I'm going to be sad that if he's leaving to go to Salt Lake. But
Yeah, it's only a 6-month program, but it's,
All right.
it's something better. I was doing the Sud C program, and we just need something more right now. We need
yeah.
something a little faster.
Well, if you need a job in Salt Lake, I know a place I can get you a job for
Really?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Pathways. He works at Pathways with me.
Yeah.
Congratulations on getting accepted and the new place, and that's
Yeah.
going to be a whole journey for you, man.
Yeah, that'll be
that's
fun.
awesome.
Where are you from?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm from right here in St. George.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
That's why I had so many people that were like, "Oh, that's awesome! We can't wait for Aaron to come on, and can Lexie come on too?" And it's gonna be a good one, man. I'm excited.
Well, Aaron brought Lexie, his significant other. We haven't decided what to call her yet. We're going to make up some names. But, Lexie, what's new and good in your world?
I think probably just the same with Aaron. Like, we just heard we got a place today. I'll just be transferring jobs.
Sweet.
It'll be nice to get out of Sevier County. That's where I lived most of my life. So,
Okay. Is this your 20th podcast you've ever been on?
yeah, can't you tell?
They're a little nervous, but they're settling in. They're settling in, Doc.
Oh, they're fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's
just
great.
Goofballs. It's just goofballs. Sean, you got anything? Run into any animals or anything recently?
Actually, no. Actually, I really have a new and good.
What is it?
I drove by my son's apartment. He's on his mission.
Okay.
Took a picture of myself in front of his apartment and then left. And then sent him a picture of me in front of his apartment. But on top of that,
Are you just taunting him or
yeah,
what?
but on top of that, I got a video of him. I've made him and all of his companions break down in hysterical laughter. I got 4 Hawaiian shirts, and they each have big pictures of my son on it. Found it on some Facebook ads. Now there's 4
Hilarious.
elders up in Washington wearing orange Hawaiian shirts with big faces of my kid on it. That's my new and good. You
We
know,
got to get a picture
proud-
of that, Sean, and put it
proud
on a
dad
future
moment.
podcast
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure. We got to
That's
see
funny
that.
stuff. How long's he been out?
A year.
Okay, so he's coming home
A year.
1 year from now.
Something like that. I don't know.
I can't even remember how long missions are anymore. I couldn't remember if they were a year and a half or
I
two.
didn't know you could send pictures.
Well, I don't know if you know it's the year 2022.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually laminated the picture and put it in an envelope and sent it to him.
That's-
so
oh, really?
It's a
That's how
beautiful
you sent it?
laminated. I didn't want to pay for the framing, but laminated. There's a level of my, I don't know.
He's on a mission. He's gonna put a thumbtack in it and stick it in the
Yeah.
wall anyway. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
perfect. Lamination.
So that's,
All
my,
right,
that's my new and good, making my kids smile.
there you go. I like it. All right, should we get started with this journey?
Yeah, where do we start?
I don't know. We got Aaron Wallis in studio. So, Aaron, introduce yourself to the people that might be listening. Who are you? What are you doing in life right now?
Yeah, my name is Aaron Wallis. I'm from right here in St. George. I've been living out in Richfield since early 2019. I work at a treatment facility with Sellers. That's how I got here on this podcast. And pretty much just what's going on in life right now is I've stepped out of school and I'm taking an entire new journey that's entirely terrifying. It's
You said Sellers kind of gave it away. He said that you work with him.
Yeah.
Where do you currently work?
Yeah, I work at Pathways. It's a treatment facility out there.
Out there. That's a good.
By
It's a good description.
yeah.
Out there.
Well,
Yeah.
any place I work is out there.
Out there. Yeah. No, it's in
Yeah.
Richfield, kind of a little bit in the middle of nowhere,
It's
right?
actually in Glenwood, so it's like 10 minutes out of Richfield. So it's like even.
Is that
It's in
considered
this-
central Utah?
Even
It's in
out
the
there.
suburbs of Richfield if Richfield was big enough to have suburbs.
Hey, listen, I'm a country boy from West Point. I might love it out there.
Yeah, well,
It's
Glenwood's-
actually pretty nice.
Glenwood's
yeah.
Right?
nice.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
quiet,
slow
kinda
slow
small.
pace.
Yeah.
You're talking my language. So
Pretty
what do
lovely.
you do? What do you do for them?
Right now, I'm just staff member. I basically do whatever it is that needs to get done. Like
The most important job, the front line
yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah. So I'm out
Dealing
there
with clients every day, all day.
Yeah, when there's nobody like Sellers or somebody that a therapist that calms them down, or we're the guys that get to deal with it. So
Very
There you
nice.
go.
Did I say deal with like it's a pain? Can we edit that part? I don't want any of my clients listening and being
No,
like,
but you know what?
oh, you deal with me, huh?
but you know what?
deal with me?
Let's be honest. Occasionally, treatment's a time. Like treatment is an interesting and difficult time, and sometimes clients can get a little escalated, and it's a tough time.
For sure. Have you guys seen that show? Was it 4 Good Days?
With Mila Kunis.
Yes, yes. Anybody that has never, for you normies out there that have never had like somebody with a substance abuse problem in your life, watch that show and you'll understand why sending your loved one to treatment is the way to go, because they can be irrational.
Yeah,
it can
no
get a little
question.
crazy.
No
right?
question. People
And
don't always
Aaron-
come of their own free will.
For
example.
sure. And
They get
Aaron-
dropped off, and all of a sudden, and then the therapists all leave, and Aaron's left there at night all alone to
That's
deal
exactly
with these people
how
that
it
don't
is,
want to be
yeah.
there.
But I can tell he's great at it. You want to know why?
He's good. Tell me.
He has such a calm demeanor.
Yeah, he's calm.
I'm type A personality. I'm
Yeah.
I'm spracked out on caffeine over here and nicotine, and he's just chill.
Yeah,
That's the kind of you need that.
yeah, he's good at that. No question.
Yeah, I get that. That's,
How come you're doing that job?
I started doing that job just, I figured it would help me. I was doing construction first, so I went through a treatment center over in Matter, Matter Behavioral Health over in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
I'd gotten arrested. It really wasn't looking very good on my part getting out. No treatment centers currently are really willing to help you get out, to help you get insurance or Medicaid or whatever it is. And Matter was one that was willing to step up for me. And
While you were locked up, incarcerated.
yeah,
Okay.
they were willing to sign me out to them while I was able to go and get insurance while I was under their supervision. So they really kind of took that shot to help me. And without that, there was probably no getting out. Like I was in some serious trouble. And
So based on that, sorry, Sellers.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's apologize to me.
Based on that, is it fair to say you're a person in long-term recovery?
yeah.
Now I'm wondering, is Lexie?
No, Lexie's not.
Okay, she's just like my wife, one of those amazing people, right? That help support us and keep us on the, right?
And she helped me through the whole thing. We had just barely met by the time I had gotten arrested. Like, I'd relapsed, fallen off so fast. Like, they say you pick up where you left off, and that's so true. Like, I had just started running hard, and I got picked up right away on even more serious charges. And she sat there through the whole thing, helped me get a lawyer, helped me,
So she okay. You met her when you were running and gunning, ripping and running.
I was clean. I was doing good.
Oh, okay.
And I relapsed
Probably
right.
3 months after we
Yeah.
met.
It was
Whoa.
it was
Okay, I got to go there, right?
Yeah.
I was going to go there later in the podcast, but I think we're going to just
Sorry, we're scatterbrained.
freewheel it.
Yeah, I'm freewheeling.
You've barely known him for a few months, and all of a sudden he's arrested. What
That's-
makes you not turn and run? Like, why did you stick around?
Honestly, I think that is what made us so serious. And I mean, because we were we hung out often and it was like serious, but we never labeled it or anything. And I think that really told me that he needed someone to be in that position for him, like that support, that, to really hold it down. And that's,
She needed to fix him.
No, listen.
I would-
Listen. I just want to clarify something, Lexie. That is a beautiful textbook answer. But Sellers, look at him. Look at the guy.
Well, he's a good-looking dude.
handsome. He's
No-
a good-looking
no question.
dude. That's why
No
she's
question.
stuck
He's an
around.
attractive
dark
man.
hair. He's got the the 5 o'clock shadow going on. Those cheekbones, bro. Like
I'm going to turn
You
that.
know.
I'm going to turn that around. Look at her. She doesn't need she can get any guy she wants.
how do you guys feel about us
You guys are
psychoanalyzing
both-
you?
We're not psychoanalyzing. We're just telling them how
I am.
beautiful they are. They're lovely.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
They're beautiful
It's true.
people. So
Good for
okay,
you,
so
though. That's cool.
you stuck around. Let's. How'd you get there? Tell me about how you got started with drugs and alcohol or whatever it was. I don't actually know.
I started. The addict behavior started really young. I was constantly in trouble. I was really defiant in school. I had really absent parents. They're great people, but terrible parents. And by the time I was 13, I was already smoking weed every day. and-
Oh, that's an early age to be smoking the
yeah,
weed.
yeah, it was every day, and I was experimenting recreationally with other stuff by that age too. You know, heroin was really the one that stuck to me, and that was what became my major downfall.
Well, it's because you weren't in the rat park,
Yeah.
right? Don't you just have to be in the rat park to overcome heroin?
What is your,
Sorry. Anyways,
what is your deal?
you know that guy that just says you just got to be in the rat park. You just got to have
Hari.
you just got to have better friends.
Gotta
apparently.
have cool stuff to do.
So the physical dependency kicked in, right? We all
Right.
know with opiates, there's a major physical dependency
Yeah.
component to it.
Yeah, and so I'd actually gotten on. I went through steps, and
Was that your first treatment center? Steps?
no, I've been through 3. My first one
Okay.
was Horizon House in Cedar City,
Okay.
and I left steps on my own will. I left before, I was ready, and I figured I was good because they had me on Vivitrol, and I figured I'd be good, and I found meth right then. Because I can use meth while
While you're
on
using Vivitrol.
Yeah, so
That's perfect.
I eliminated the one problem and created another. So
I get it, but in
like
the
it.
time when we that's
it made sense. Heroin's not
In our-
taking heroin away. There's no other issue. That's
chemically
how I felt.
imbalanced brains.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Right. That's a really common theme among people is I'm not using my drug of choice, so
Yeah.
so it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm hooked on heroin, but I'm not using heroin anymore, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
That's not that uncommon. We've heard that story a bunch.
For sure.
and then it actually got to the point where, meth might have been more prevalent. Like when I've relapsed, that's my go-to. Like I go to meth first, and then heroin's like my counterbalance, and I know
Well, you gotta sleep sometime, right?
Yeah, so I know that's what I got to look for. Like when I start craving, it's for meth. I don't really crave the heroin, but the meth kicks in
Interesting.
bad. Yeah.
That's interesting. So tell me how you got arrested? What was going on there?
The first initial cases I had terminated. I've been arrested literally more times than I can count. Probably 40, 50 times I've been arrested.
He's
And
been arrested.
yeah.
Wouldn't
And,
look at him and
He's
think
got-
that.
I know, right? He's got a rap sheet.
Yeah, literally 40, 50 times probably.
Wow.
And I terminated, and I was out. I went to steps, and
For those of our audience that haven't been arrested 40 or 50 times, terminated. What does that
So,
mean?
terminated is I took a deal where I was willing to I would rather go back to jail and finish my time rather than take probation because I just kept messing up.
Screwing it up.
I couldn't do it, yeah. So I just quit, and I took that time and I went to jail, and I thought that maybe I could get my mind right, but within 11 months from that day that I got out, I had picked up a bunch of distribution charges and stolen vehicles, and I picked up a lengthy, and they ranked each one as a different case number, so each one was ran consecutively. So I had 7 second-degree felonies ran consecutively,
Wow. All right.
and
That's a little trouble.
yeah, and that's what I ended up on probation for, and
All drug related,
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much, whether it's
yeah.
for that specifically or related to that, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't be out stealing cars if I wasn't on drugs.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean,
I
that sounds.
think about it now, and I'm like, there's no way I would. That seems crazy. I
Right.
would just go and take somebody's car.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question.
You don't get to ask it.
So, were there times when you were in that 40 or 50 times that you were getting arrested that you thought, I'm getting tired of this? Man, I
Dude,
can't keep doing this.
I always wanted to quit, and there were some times where I would be in the back of the cop car, and like, it felt like relief. Like finally somebody's gonna take me off this stuff and force me away from
Yeah.
it. Like,
Like,
was-
thank you for the break.
Yeah.
I'm out here killing myself.
Yeah.
Thank you for yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and there was no fight from me. Like, I'm just like, put on the handcuffs. Like,
I find that it's interesting because I was talking to Mandy on the way over here and thinking of I used for like 3 years, right? I went pretty hard for 3 years. And the first 2 were definitely to escape from, to run away from, to numb out, to enjoy the feeling, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter why. The last, it was probably the whole year was just entirely, I just didn't want to be sick.
yeah.
I was tired of the lifestyle. I was tired of the things getting arrested, all the garbage that comes along with it. I just didn't want to be sick, Doc. You know?
Yeah.
You find that's a pretty common thing, especially working in treatment.
I know what you're
right?
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so give me some details on, you had some clean time before when's the last time you got arrested?
December of 2019. Was the
Okay.
last time. Well, there's a couple of, I got arrested while I was in rehab because I didn't show up to court because I was in rehab.
You went in rehab but forgot to tell your
Yeah,
PO?
so they showed up and arrested me, and I bailed out on those warrants and kept going to court. And then I had to go back to jail. I had to turn myself in after all the court stuff was over. So I had, 2 years clean, but I had to go and check back into jail. And it was a pretty humbling little experience there for me. But.
Sure. So, some details I just want some quick details. We're getting close to the end of this first segment, but you had some clean time. You relapsed. What led to that relapse? How did that happen? You remember?
Yeah, there was a few things going on in my life. I just felt pretty lonely. Like I had a lot of downtime by myself. Like she was coming and seeing me sometimes, but on those days where I was out in Richfield, like I felt excluded from whatever. These aren't my friends. These aren't my people. And my friends and my people were here, and they were using. And that made it so much easier for me to be like, I want to just see my friends.
Okay.
Well, and let's be honest, like there's a piece to, if you've used for multiple years, which sounds like is your story, right?
Yeah.
It almost becomes an identity.
It is.
Like, this is who I am.
Yeah. And I didn't feel like I could be down here and be with those people without, using with them.
Was there like a piece of almost when you say like, oh, these aren't my friends, was there, what I hear is like an unworthiness.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not that you thought they were squares or, anything negative about them. You just didn't feel worthy to maybe be in those recovery circles. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah. The recovery scene out in Richfield, it's there. It's not big like it is here, but it's there. But I felt like, I made myself indifferent. And that's what made it difficult for me to be like making friends. And I still do that sometimes, but like I have her and I have other people that I know, like these are my friends, and
For sure.
I have a much more accepted life now.
It sounds like you're finding other ways to identify too, right? Like going to barber school and planning a future with this lady sitting next to you, right? Like your identity is changing to, I'm no longer that person.
Yeah, and you know what? They always tell you, like they have you when you're in rehab and stuff, they'll be like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it's like, I can't look past, I might be dead a week after leaving this place. Like, I don't see myself in 5 years. But now, today, it's like, I'm trying to find that future.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good. So, you got clean.
Yeah. Yeah, so it took a lot for me to get clean. I'm not that guy, obviously, that can just notice that it's a problem. I noticed it's a problem first time I use, but it's going to take, I've already made that commitment by the time I've used that I'm going to get arrested.
Oh.
Like,
wow.
it's that bad for me.
Wow.
Well, I bet in a small town, it's pretty easy to, like they know you, right?
Yeah.
Like as much as you identify as being a drug addict, they've got you labeled as a drug addict too,
But
right?
it's even worse for me here. Like,
St. George is still considered a small town, right?
Yeah,
when you go to Salt Lake, you'll realize what's
200,000 people. Small.
for sure. I get it. I get it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got in a car accident here using a few years ago now, and that's all the cops that showed up were like, "Oh, hey, it's you." Like, and I had been gone for a year by that point.
This is how that went down. Oh, hey, it's you. We're gonna need a canine unit.
We're gonna need you to urinate in a cup.
For good reason. I mean, we give them all the evidence to show that.
Well, and actually, an off-duty drug task force agent watched me do it. So, like, she was the first one, got out of the car and was like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like,
interesting. Yeah, interesting.
You weren't using.
no, I was using that. That was during my relapse. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And was that the cause of the accident?
Most likely.
Do you want to admit it?
So yes.
Well, listen.
So, yes, that's
Sellers
the
has
cause of
totaled
the accident.
3 cars in like the past year. So that's a good question from him because he regularly crashes
slight-
cars.
slight-
Luckily, my car was
slight
in the shop,
exaggeration.
and so I was in a rental car. So
Let
didn't
the-
total my own car.
Well, that doesn't help. That still raises your insurance rates, right?
Sorry for the
Your
exaggeration.
insurance still goes up. Yeah. Well, I haven't fallen asleep behind the wheel of a car in at least a year now. Oh, hey, we're out of time. Well, we're out of time. We're going to have a short sponsorship mention during the break and then come back and listen to us again at the end of this break. We'll be right back.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller, sponsored by Steps Recovery Center and the Hilton Garden Inn.
I'm Desmond Lomax, one of the clinical executives here at Steps Recovery, and once you become in the Steps family, you're just a part of the Steps family. A lot of us have overcome substances, overcome addiction, and now we're able to help other people. Second of all, we're also going to help you in a way where you can afford to be helped. Third of all, we're going to give you the same quality that many organizations are charging 2 to 3 times, and it's more about you than it is about our organization.
We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, joined by your co-host, or your host, Jared Miller. And we're also joined by Aaron Wallis and his girlfriend, Lexie Crafts. Aaron just got in a car wreck. But before he got in
Wait
a
a minute. Like on his way here?
Well, no.
Oh, in the story.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the
All
story.
right,
But before he got in a car wreck, let's talk about if you're traveling through southern Utah,
don't get in a car wreck.
don't get in a car wreck. And also, you should try out the Hilton Garden Inn. Give them a Google search, and they have great amenities. When it's 110 degrees outside, that pool is awfully nice. Rooms are clean and cool, and the people are wonderful. So just type in Hilton Garden Inn and give them a shot at your business because you'll have a nice stay there.
We also have Rise Up Supplements.
Who's that?
Rise Up Supplements is the newest sponsor to this podcast.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Tell me about it.
It is a mental health line. We've got a couple different products. The first one is Mindful Mood. It helps decrease anxiety and just enhance your mood. It's got lion's mane and a lot of really good herbal things in it. And then the new one we're coming out with is Mind Shift. Are you familiar with the term nootropics? You ever heard of that, Aaron?
Sure.
I've heard it. I can't think of what it is.
I know what a nootropic is.
It helps like the synapses in the brain fire faster, helps with like memory call, helps with verbal literacy, right? It
Nootropics are better than old tropics.
yes,
I
yes,
can tell you
Sellers.
that.
You're right on the money. Absolutely. So we want to thank both of those
Yeah.
sponsors for sponsoring this podcast.
Great sponsorship. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So I had heard about a tragedy that apparently happened to you in recovery.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that, how that went down?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can really get into specifics. Just
You
I've-
go where you're comfortable.
Yeah, literally, dude. I've never even talked about it like with anyone outside of my family. Like, so I graduated drug court 3 days ago, and like I never even spoke about it with them. It's kind of one of those things that I think it makes most people uncomfortable. It's a huge thing, and I had a kid pass away. It'll be 1 year ago in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he was going to be 5. So,
That's your, how many kids do you have?
I have 2.
You have 2 kids?
Yeah.
Your oldest?
Yeah, he was my oldest.
That's a boy.
Yeah.
Wow, how'd he die?
Yeah, he was.
Listen, if
Yeah.
I push
No.
too hard,
You're good. Yeah.
tell me you don't want to talk about
The
it.
rule on this podcast is always share as much or as little as you're comfortable with.
Right. Yeah, so I can touch on that. First things first, like throughout my addiction, I had signed guardianship over to my parents. While I was trying to get my things together, and he was over at my stepmom's house, and just kid being kid, he got himself stuck in a box. And,
Oh, man.
yeah, totally uncalled for. Like, we didn't see it coming.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
He was just playing and
Yeah, just a
hopped
kid.
into a box?
Kid being a kid, yeah.
It was a toy box, right?
Yeah.
Just hopped into a
And it
toy
had an
box.
Latch
automatic
on it.
latch inside, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the cops came out and everybody was looking for him, right?
Yeah, yeah. I got the call at I was at work, and I was getting home, and I got the call. And normally I'll go to bed when I get home, but I sat there for a minute, and I was thinking, well, he's just a kid. He's probably down the road playing or whatever.
So you got the call that he was missing.
Yeah, and so I decided, I don't really need to sleep. I'm just gonna get up and head down there. And by the time I got there, was about the time.
They found him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Aaron, thank you.
yeah.
I mean, just the courage you have to come on and share that. And it's interesting. I can tell that that's super hard. I can tell by the look in your eyes and looking over at Lexie, I can tell that this has been something you guys have shared together and been through together. And my heart goes out to you, man.
Yeah,
Sorry for your loss.
it's been the hardest part of the story so far. And
So you're sober at the time. You're clean at the time.
yeah, I was clean.
How long had you been clean?
Pretty close to 2 years.
Okay.
About 2 years, and
And did you stay clean?
yeah, I did.
How'd you do that?
Before, can we pump the
do-
brakes on that for a sec? Think about that. Lexie, I'm for some reason I'm getting a vibe from Lexie. How did that affect you? Right? Because here you are, you guys met, dated for a few months, things were going great. Then the relapse happens. Now he's back in recovery. Things are getting pieced back together. And then he gets this devastating. I mean, my heart is sinking in my stomach right now. Call. I mean, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, just the timing of it was really weird because we were working on getting him back full time.
When you say getting him back full time, what does that mean to
Because
you?
he had been staying with his stepmom. They were taking care of him for the most part. I mean, since we...
Your parents didn't have
The son.
Your parents weren't taking care of him.
They
at this
had
time.
guardianship.
They had
and-
guardianship.
Yeah, and
Okay. But
that
but
wasn't.
your
Yeah.
girlfriend, ex-wife, I don't know what.
No, she's out of the picture. She was there partially. She started using again, and she hadn't been there in some months. But the idea was, he was comfortable where he was at, and I didn't want to strip him out of that. And so what we were working on was now I'm to the point where I was showing up still, even using being a dad that I could be.
So you need to show consistency
Yeah.
for them to absolutely.
Well, and so now the problem was that I had become the dad that he needed, and that's when this happened.
So Lexie, again, same question. What's kind of going through your mind?
Honestly, it was really devastating. He was just getting comfortable at our house. That was his other house is what he called it. So it was just we never got to give him what we thought he deserved.
It's tough. Thank you for sharing that.
But he got to see you sober. He got to sort of reform that bond a little bit.
Yeah.
Were
Their
there fears?
relationship was the best father-son relationship that you could picture. Obviously they weren't perfect, but
Absolutely.
he loved his dad for sure.
Were there fears in your mind? Because I'm sure that Aaron was going through a lot of grief.
Oh yeah.
Were there fears in your mind that this was going to take him back out?
Oh yeah. I knew that was, I'm sure, the first thing he wanted to do immediately when he even found out. So that was really hard. But I mean, I was there for him and we were open about it. He flat out, he was like, I just want to use right now. And you would expect that,
Sure.
I totally expected that. But
And I just want to point out, by him saying that takes away quite a bit of power.
Man, can I point out that that's a great response from you? Because I've said this on this podcast before. I remember the first time I told my wife that that I was craving, and she went nuts. She thought that means I'm going to go shoot heroin in the bathroom right then, which is not what it meant. It meant, hey, just keep a little bit of an eye on me.
right.
And when she went nuts, I'm like, I don't want to tell you anymore. And if your response is support and love, and I understand you need some help right now, but not freaking out, then he's going to tell you the next time that happens too. And
Right.
this is a great lesson for people that support people with addictions. If they're willing to tell you that secret, because if it stays a secret, that's when it becomes a real problem.
Yeah, and we were talking about it the other day. Like, I think what we're doing when we do that is we're asking for some accountability.
Yeah.
We're asking for somebody
Absolutely.
to keep that eye on us. And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good response. Like, that could have gone the other way, and frankly, easily could have gone the other way.
Right.
Like I don't know if people that are listening can feel this the same through a microphone as I'm feeling it right now, but God, I want to use just hearing the story. You know,
That would be tough. That would be tough. Were you afraid to leave him alone for a while? What did that look like for you?
I don't know if I was necessarily afraid to leave him alone because he holds himself really accountable. Like, and I know that his strength is there, I guess you could call it, and his accountability, like him holding himself.
So you knew that he had the
Was
skills,
powerful. Yeah.
skills to get through it.
I knew that his
Okay.
mind was where it needed to be. Like, obviously, I knew it was possible, but regardless of how much I could do, if he wants to do it, he's going to do it. So I do my best, like, to support him and obviously get him not to. Obviously, that's not what I want, but
You said it perfect. Just
ultimately
support
it's
him,
his decision.
right? Be there for him. Yeah. Have somebody be that person that he can lean into
Right.
when times get hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, Doc. I wanted
no,
to,
I think that's a great viewpoint though too. Is what the addict needs at that point is support, but not like if they've come to you already. So not accountability because they're showing that, right? You don't need to, as a support person, keep them clean and sober. You need to support, but it's not your responsibility to make sure they stay clean and sober. It's your responsibility to support them for whatever they might need,
Right.
right? If somebody goes out and uses, it's not the support person's problem or fault ever, right? It's
Absolutely.
always going to be on us. But man, if you can have a loved one like that can support you through something like that, that gives you a real fighting chance. So good on you.
yeah, and it was just like back to back. Just they say it comes in threes, and I lost two other friends right after, like two of my closest friends. And one was to an overdose, and the other one was due to COVID. And
Within like 2 weeks,
yeah,
3
within
weeks.
weeks, and like it was just a really difficult time, man.
Yeah.
Losing support left and right.
Yeah.
totally. It comes in threes. Like I lost my dad, lost my brother, wife asked me for a divorce. I get it. It's crazy how that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tragic few months, and it was really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move forward a little bit.
I was just going to say the title of this is No Matter What.
Yeah.
So to the listener out there, how do you walk through that kind of grief?
You know what? I just had that in my head already. Like, I knew I wasn't going to do anything today that's going to affect me tomorrow. And that's just the mentality that I kept.
Good mentality.
Just
Good
take it
viewpoint.
one day at a time.
Yeah, that's a good viewpoint.
Yeah, I just, as long as I didn't do anything stupid that day, then tomorrow things will start to get better.
Wow. Okay. I like that. That might work.
Were there any extra things that you did being more aware of kind of the vulnerable emotional state that you were in? Like did you maybe, for some people hitting more meetings or calling and checking in with your loved ones more or, what did that look like for you?
You know what? We used quite a bit of family time and support. We were all together for that, and that may have been like the last time, because family starts to fall apart in tragic events. But we were all together there for each other in that time, and my brother even came from Oregon, and we hadn't spoken in years, and he showed up.
Oh, that's
Out of
cool.
the blue, just surprised us.
So what I hear you say is you really just leaned into family,
Yeah.
leaned into your support system.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Do you spend any time in your brain? I haven't had anything quite this tragic happen to me in recovery. You spend any time in your brain blaming yourself?
You know what? At the beginning, there was I knew that it wasn't my fault or whatever, but the grief pattern was pretty spotty for me. I was, I went into that. What's it called when you're doing that in grief? when you're like blaming yourself for.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it took a few.
That's
months.
probably the anger stage, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, and then there's acceptance.
Yeah, bargaining. I think that's what it is. Isn't that when you're kind of like,
Yeah.
Bargaining
I could
looks
have
like
done
this.
something different.
You know, if you bring my son back, I'll
Never
never
use
touch
again.
anything again. Right?
Right.
That's kind of like that's the bargaining. I think anger is probably, if you're blaming yourself, it'd probably fall in that anger category.
Right. Yeah, and it took me a while to get there, like a few months at least, and I noticed myself getting irritable at small things, like being at work. I just hated it. I was depressed. Did everything that I could, outside. I should have talked about it more. I would have had better health towards it, but I dealt with it the way that I dealt with it.
Right.
And,
You're not a guy that talks about a lot of
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
I mean, you hold a lot of stuff in,
right.
and
Yeah, and
you
I
deal
mean,
with it on your own.
yeah, and I can tell myself things like I'd be pretty honest with myself, and the best thing that I had to look forward to is my other kid.
Sure.
Like that may have been he's never been high, or I've never been high a day in his life, and so
That's cool. How old is he?
he's coming up. He's a year and a half.
Okay. What's his name?
Wilder.
Wilder. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
I love that
cool,
though,
man.
because it's basically like that, and that's part of that acceptance piece and moving into acceptance is like, look, there's nothing I can do about yesterday. There's nothing I can do about the loss of my son. The only thing that would make that much worse is if I continued to make the same,
Yeah.
mistakes that I did previously.
Yeah.
Is that sound about right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty, I feel like it's pretty important to point out. I also want to say, for the listener, I don't recommend the deal with it tough guy mentality, right? That kept me sick for a long time, and I get it, right?
But that's
In today's
that
society,
is a part of who Aaron is, right?
absolutely,
And a part of who you are, probably.
it was a big part, and I was just going to say a big part of my thing was dealing with all this grief and loss. I mean, our stories are, it's like you're a mirror for me. And I didn't want to talk to people about it. I wanted to put on the Teflon face and be the tough guy, and I don't need to talk feelings. What are those, And
Yeah, I felt more sympathy from people than anything, and I didn't want that. Like,
you didn't like that.
I don't like that. Yeah.
So if somebody meets you on the street tomorrow and has heard this podcast, and I think this is important to go into too, not everybody wants to hear maybe, I'm sorry for your loss.
Right.
What's the best way to approach Aaron on that topic?
It's if I don't know the people, even today, still, if somebody asks how many kids I have 2.
For sure.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, you do have 2,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You do have 2. What's so we have Wilder. What's the other son's name?
His name is Cash.
Gash.
Cash with a K.
Cash with a K. Okay.
That's what he said.
Cool.
Cash with a K. That's how he introduced himself. Cash with a K.
My name's Cash with a K.
Or Bubba. I'm Bubba.
That's
Sounds like
cool.
a cute kid, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good kid. It's fun to have sons.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun to have daughters, but they're different. I don't know if did you have brothers and sisters growing up?
Like I said, my parents were pretty absent. My mom, she's great now, but growing up, I have half siblings.
Okay.
So my half siblings were with her, and me and my older brother, we were pretty close. But I have 2 younger sisters and a younger brother that I didn't get close with until just these last 3-4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you've got me interested.
What do you got?
Now you got me interested in Aaron and why he's reserved.
Yeah.
Is that just kind of how you've always been? Where did that start?
Like my personality?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think he had to fend for himself. I think that's what I'm getting out of that is you kind of raised yourself. It sounds like.
Yeah, I don't like putting myself on the spot.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. We're not putting you on the spot, except it's a podcast, so
And
we're putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you know what? This podcast is like something way outside
Sure.
my comfort zone.
Sure.
Which I think is awesome because
And
you're
I
growing,
appreciate-
right?
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being here because I know that kind of the last thing you would want to talk about would be you,
Yeah.
right? But I can tell you this: our audience doesn't want to hear about me and Jared anymore. They're so tired of us; it's unbelievable. So we're talking about you today. Well, okay. So how do you move on? You move on from that. What do you do after that? So family gathers. You have some support from people you haven't seen in a long time,
Yeah.
right? People show up that you haven't even talked to, but then everybody goes away eventually,
Yeah.
right? And you're left back with you and Lexie.
Honestly, that's kind of what I want. I was waiting for that day to kind of let my grief go on my own. Like,
Sure.
I didn't want to do it.
Because you can't
in
show
front of
that grief in
people.
front of
Yeah.
people. For you.
Yeah, so I waited until I was able to do that on my
Yeah.
own. And
Yeah.
Again, I would say that you could, but Aaron doesn't
can't.
do that.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like I will always say, like sometimes I don't do things as healthy as I could have or I should have, but I do it the way that it feels right for me. And,
Right. It's working for you.
Yeah.
For sure. And please don't feel like I'm passing judgment.
No,
I just,
no.
in the back of my mind, right, as a clinician, I'm going like,
No,
okay,
I get it.
set the
Trust
best
me. Yeah.
example, right? Like
He
we-
knows, yeah.
I would never go. I say it all the time. I would never go to somebody and be like, this is how I think you should handle something, because that's not how I know that's how I should handle it, but that's not how I did.
It's
And
not natural.
Well,
for you.
and
Yeah.
and I appreciate that you said, that you should have probably talked about it more, right?
Yeah.
Because something as heavy as that can take somebody back out, regardless of how much clean time they have. Don't you think, Doc? I mean, if you don't let it out, if you just keep it between your ears, man, it's just gonna haunt you, and
yeah.
Yeah,
And sometimes I would get in my head and be like, man, I wonder if people think that like I just don't show it because I didn't care or whatever. And it got to the point where it's like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like, I do what I do on my own.
Sure.
And like, just because they don't see it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
for sure.
Right. So, tell us about some of the blessings of having stayed in recovery through that. Like, let's pass that for a minute. Actually, what are some of the blessings that recovery has brought to you now?
You know what, dude? I would say, like, I'm a super good dad. Like, I really am.
I've heard that,
To my
by the
other
way.
kid.
I mean, I don't think you're bragging. I've heard that.
Yeah, I show up.
Do you think do you find that time with your other child sort of more precious now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
'Cause who knows? Right?
You know what? Like, he's a year and a half and whatever. I'm already pretty tough on him, but
Well, of course you are.
yeah. But you know what? I think our relationship is awesome. And, that's probably like the biggest thing I've accomplished so far. And like, I started school right after all that happened. So like, that happened July of 2021, and I had to start school in August.
This is
You
for
still
your
did
son.
it. You still showed up.
Yeah, and I still did it. I did it with a 3.7 GPA, and working full time, parenting, drug court.
That actually doesn't surprise me, because guys like me and you typically will throw ourselves into things
Yeah,
so that we can avoid.
that's, you know what, dude, and that's exactly.
I'm having a leg cramp. That's
you're
all you're seeing from me. That wasn't.
Thought
even
you were
weird.
kicking me to give me a cue, like
No, I'm
like,
trying to
like,
stretch out
shut
my
up,
leg.
Jared.
Don't worry about it.
Well, and people ask you, like, what works for you, what does it for
Yeah.
you, and that's it for me. Like, I gotta stay busy, dude.
And that's not a negative
Yeah.
thing. That can be a healthy coping skill, right? Is delaying yourself, distracting yourself.
Yeah,
Like, for
and
sure.
so I was doing school, you know what I mean? I try to get to the gym every day if I can, a couple days off here and there. Try to be pretty strict on myself with dieting and stuff. And so, like, just challenging myself all the time with pretty much everything that I do is what makes me better. Like,
And helps you get through.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know if I'm to get high today, I'm not going to be tracking macros and out there in the gym.
Counting reps
getting to
in the
school.
gym, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. So,
Good point. Good point.
yeah. So it's either I throw away
We're a
my
lot alike,
goals
too.
or
I try to miss the gym every day. I can. every once in a while, I screw up and make it, but
you know what? But you don't got to look good when you got a doctorate degree. So
that's
yeah.
that's not true at all. But thanks. I think you just called me ugly.
No.
It's totally fine. All right, so tell us what you're doing. So you're about to head to barber school
Yeah.
in Salt Lake. It's a big venture for you.
Yeah, it was kind of on the whim, you know what I mean? Like, Really, I just kind of need a break from mental health for a minute. Like
Okay.
that's what it came down to. Was I'm stressed out and I'm doing less than I was, and so I think it's time to
Switch it up a little
shift
bit.
gears for a minute and try something different.
Yeah.
My
It's
advice,
funny because we talked about him going to barber school. That's been like a up in the air thing since we met.
That was the original plan. Yeah, like
when he was in Matter.
yeah, I made that choice, dude. Like I was in jail, and I'm thinking, what can I do to get out of here? And I thought to myself, like, you know what? I'm just done taking the easy road. Like, everything I do is going to be the hard way. So
yeah, run at difficult things, not away from them.
yeah,
Got to punish himself.
yeah. Well, before, you know what I mean? It's like I got to pay my rent, dude, and it's like, well, I could either go sell something or, you know, spend the money that I earned, and I don't want to do that. So now it's the opposite.
I would actually, just to throw out there, anybody in early recovery that's thinking of going to substance abuse school, SUDSI school, don't do it. Make sure you got a few years clean because, I
it's
mean,
hard, dude.
yeah, and you're thinking of talking about writing papers on substance abuse stuff all day long, which can be extremely triggering to
is
some people if
triggering,
you don't
yeah.
have a certain level of recovery in you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're about out of time.
These
but
guys have been
I got-
awesome.
yeah, great guest. I got 2 questions for you.
What's up?
Were you comfortable the whole time you were here?
Oh yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
weren't.
Well, the beginning was a little rough, but I'm sweating pretty bad, but so's he.
Okay.
It's true. It's true.
Good. And did you have a good time?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Anything one last thing you tell people listening right now? People in recovery specifically.
Be good to yourself.
There you go. Be good to yourself.
Well, and I just want to say, Lexie, thank you for coming on and joining him. There were times that he absolutely needed you here today.
Yeah, of course.
Brave.
Wouldn't miss it.
Very brave. Appreciate it.
Good work,
All right,
Sellers.
we do Recover with Jared Miller, episode 89 in the books. No matter what, stay clean and sober out there, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for joining us today on We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. This has been a production from a podcast studio.